I gotta ask, this is real quick and then this brother's gonna ask a question. First of all, you know what, this brother has a Facebook show that comes on every single night. So how do they see your broadcast on Facebook?
Well, first of all, Facebook now is becoming a problem because you can't play your little music, and it's innocent music, okay? And you can't put on the what they call it when you can screenshot and you can show certain things live. And so I think that's becoming to be a problem, and Instagram is the one that's booming now.
So that's the one you're primarily going to be dealing with.
It's Instagram. All they have to do is look my name up, Mark Clements, ask to be my friend. I even let the devil in. I don't deny no one as a friend. The bottom line of it is I just hope that people are ready to engage rather than to be on lunacy.
Tell y'all something funny. He's tired of me being on this page. Go ahead, brother. You got a
Yeah. Now, as far as, getting programs funded, how about, have you decided to just do things on your own without relying on the mayor and the governor and whomever else? Like starting the programs up for yourself for people who've been incarcerated for so long and coming home and trying to find jobs and things like that, especially someone in your position.
Yep, I have done that, man, for years. I have done it to give back to my brothers and my sisters. The bottom line of it is the people out here don't recognize that. The only thing that most people out here recognize is, hey, they got the body of my loved one, and it's all about Timmy. So if it ain't staged where that there's going to be a demonstration for Timmy, then nobody else gets up. So that's the problem. In other words, it's like being in the jar, and you put roaches in that jar, and every time the roach get up like it's getting ready to pull to safety, it slides back down. This is a systemic problem. It's systemic by our own people. Our own people wants us to fall because then in our falling, they rise, believe it or not. And it's a lot of money in this pot out here. And it's being pushed out by rich Caucasian people primarily. And those rich Caucasians, they control these people, even down to the mayor. The mayor even got somebody who she answering to. It may not appear that way, but it is. And, I can say it with confidence. Lorie knows it. Her whole staff knows it. She's going to go down as a one-term mayor, and she had the opportunity to at least shine, but when she got into office, she did everything controversy to what she had promised. I sat on the excessive force working group committee to change the policies of excessive force within the Chicago Police Department, and she shot down every recommendation except 5. We gave her 155 proposals, not proposals that look like the way the system is shaped today, but for our change. You shouldn't be pulled over by a police officer because of the color of your skin or because you wear a baseball hat. But police officers do discriminate against us, and when they do that, ain't no accountability measured out to them. It's measured out to the poor people, man, and I think that stuff is completely 100% wrong. All these judges that they have sitting here.
Okay. Go ahead, Carla. Okay, excuse me. Go ahead, Carla, and beat the drums. Go ahead, Carla. Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead. You need to turn it up back there. Go ahead.
I've been listening to you three gentlemen speak, and some of the things you say are very true. But I find it interesting that nothing good, everything we hear about us as being people of color is bad. We got it so bad. We spend $1.5 trillion per year in the United States. We are the 17th richest country in the world. There's only 17 countries that spend more money than we do. Yet we get ostracized for spending the money. We get ostracized like we don't have the money. And what gets me is that we act like we're victims all the time. Most black people are doing pretty good. They're trying to work. They get as many jobs as they can. But to be always told they're doing something to us. I was a volunteer on the west side of Chicago for 37 years. I worked at the Marillac House. I worked at Apple Homes.
Okay.
I worked at Logan Square YMCA, Division Square YMCA, Inner City Impact, Casa Central, and I worked at these places. What we need is for people to stop talking about we have a problem and start volunteering. We need more men if they're out of jail.
We got
go
you.
to school and volunteer.
Hey, brother, you know what? We're going to let him respond to that.
And let me tell you, you absolutely correct about volunteering. But however, if a person is hungry, they ain't looking at volunteering. And the problem is that, you know,
They give
so
free
many
food away at every
people,
school.
huh?
You can go to any school and get a free meal.
No, that's
You
a,
can
not
go
an
to
adult.
any
No,
school
you
and
can't.
get a free meal.
Not
They
adult,
used to
no.
serve food in the lunchroom.
The adult cannot get a free meal. You know what? I used to work at a school. I know they can't.
Lunch and dinner at the school.
That's a lie.
Yes, you can.
Go ahead, brother. Do you got another
Yes,
question for the
okay.
brother? Because we got other callers. Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Well, I just wanted to hear him say something that we're doing that's good or that's doing well in the black
Oh,
community.
okay. Something that we're doing good.
Well, we doing a lot of things good. We just don't have $17 trillion to pump into the good campaign. So that means the negative campaign is always going to win out because they're pumping in big bucks to keep their narrative that we're still slaves intact. And we're treated like slaves, but we're told that we're free.
This is something I would like for you to address. We always talk about the men's prisons, the men prisons. Okay, go ahead, caller. Beats drums. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said everybody in the media and Lightfoot in the government of Jamie Sisker, and somebody comment can say it comes from the black neighborhood and the Latino neighborhood, COVID-19, but they still saying the Chinese what they did.
Gotcha. You addressed that?
Okay, I couldn't quite hear his.
It's kind of low coming in from here, and I couldn't pick it up. Thank you, Brother James.
All I can do is respond what I think I heard, and that does the brother no good. But the bottom line of it is, this is our problems. We got to learn to get along. We got to learn to love each other. We got to learn that those church institutions and all of these places of worship, you know, they have separated. Mm-hmm. Now, how do we bring them back together so that they can be productive to the people that stand in need? I heard the brother say that you can go to a lunchroom and get food. Well, who wants to go and have to get up to go to a school lunchroom to get food? The government, it looks like to me, should be trying to give these guys some jobs. They sold all the jobs under the Contra scandal back around 1984, 85, and they sold these jobs over to different countries. That's when America was with milk and honey, because people could work 3-4 jobs and people was doing great. Well, they turned imprisonment as a commodity. Mm-hmm. And that commodity was to lock up men back then. But now, today, the times have changed and they're locking up females at record numbers and locking these females up. First, the men are being disenfranchised. Now they're working on disenfranchising the female. Once they get through putting females into situations in which they cannot survive, this is going to be a very, very dog world.
You know what I was going to ask you is, you know what, we always talk about the men's prisons, you know, but about the women prisons, because I know that there are women that are being abused in women's prisons in Illinois and being used as sexual tools by sadistic and sick correctional officers. What do we do, and what are some of the grievances with the women? Because we talk about the men all the time.
Well, we need to take out investigative tools away from the Illinois Department of Corrections and give it to an independent source. And that independent source got to be people like us from the community to oversee those women. Yes, women are being victimized behind the prison walls, and they're being victimized at record numbers. However, no one cares unless sex, money, or drugs come into the picture, and they don't care.
Yeah.
It's no other way to put it. As much as I'm doing lives and going all across this little globe here to put the word out about what's taking place behind our prisons, not just in Illinois and Texas and Denver and New Jersey and New York, people, they only seem to care when it has affected their loved one. We need movements to be created where that people can stand together and they can fight together and they can make some change out here.
Come back. This is a question, but I'm gonna ask you about Tom Dart when he gets through. Go ahead.
Okay.
So, do you think that we need more programs, or actually like more psychologists in our communities?
We need both.
We need both.
We need more programs to help train these young brothers and give them a better insight. Many of them, all they have been is in Chicago, and all they know is the block that they live in. We need to take their minds away from that block and to refocus it. But how are you going to be able to refocus it when we have $1 million music industries that's focused on keeping them in the same position they're in? It sells their records.
Oh, you got to follow?
Yeah, I've been to some of these programs before, and some of these programs that have you waiting for 6 months, 9 months, or a year. And for that individual who doesn't have any family support, any emotional support, not even any spiritual support, that is a drawback for them to go back into what they're comfortable with, because this change is making them uncomfortable because they're not used to this process. So should we have like programs that's more like, on it, or continue with the process that we are right now, which we know is not working? Because some of these programs are really kind of long, and then at the end it's like, did I really get anything out of it?
Well, I think all of this stuff needs to be dismantled, and it needs to be reshaped, and it needs to be reshaped with brothers like yourself, meaning in your age range. In other words, what you find out is that it's older people who come in, they suck up these dollars, they have no true intentions of healing or helping anyone, but they get these grants and they get these opportunities that, well, maybe in your age range, it's a little different. And I think that the change of this society, it's not going to come from a person. All I can do is sound the alarm. Y'all are the heavy hitters.
Question is, when you have a grievance, I think with Tom Dart, the Cook County Correctional Sheriff, it's alleged and said that drugs are being brought into the prison. Prisoners are being abused, beat up. And Tom Dart, it's alleged that he knows about it and he turns a blind eye to it. Even at Statesville Prison, they have drugs that are brought in by guards. Women are prostitutes at night. And Tom Dart and the governor have turned a blind eye to that. And you have a grievance that you said you would like to talk about that.
Well, with Tom Dart's situation, especially as far as the drugs is concerned, they are always inside of a penal institution going to figure out ways how to do that. Me personally, it's to each his own. If they want to sit there and they want to kill themselves, because that's what that contributes to. Tom Dart's problem is that he has no experience in the field of prisons or in the field of our jails. And for the people to entrust him over their loved ones is a shame. He literally, back around 1995, he dismantled Illinois prisons, and what they turn out to be were real live concentration camps. They are ran that way right now today. Where
Can you describe what they're doing abusive?
Well, abusive. Food has become to be a disciplinary. What else? Visits has become to be a disciplinary. Telephones have become to be a disciplinary. I think that this should be the way to straightening people out that maybe be on the wrong end. You got to allow them access to their families, and if you cut and you limit that, that's going to create the behavioral problems in that person. Tom Dart went and he abused and he took out all of the good foods inside of the prisons. Now those guys are eating soybeans, some of them coming out with breasts, some of them coming out which they are sterile, some of them coming out which their body just swole up. Scientists and the Federal Food Administration has clearly stated that 100% soybean per meal is not good. And they recommended that only inside of the Illinois Department of Corrections that they serve, I think it was 30% soybean with the diet, and then do not put no soybean for the dinner. The Illinois Department of Corrections totally disregarded that, and prisons like Statesville, those guys are getting 100% soybean.
Do you think that the mayor of Chicago, Lorie Lightfoot, has knowledge of the abusive things that are taking place in I can't say Statesville because that's not her jurisdiction. I'm talking about in Cook John County. Do you think that she is aware of this? And the second question is, do you think that police should have their own private insurance where they would think twice about doing atrocities in the community to where all the citizens would have to just pay and they wouldn't have no, they should you have to have insurance if you're a private detective. If you're a hairdresser, you have to have private insurance. Should police have private insurance, and would they think twice? That's two questions I asked you.
Would they think twice about their behavior with private insurance? Maybe
coming out of their pocket.
Maybe so, but it would really cripple lawsuits in this country because it's a done deal once that police officer is sued in his official capacity because they get the money from the government. See, and it's a for sure thing. In other words, once they settle and they settle those complaints for $1 million, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 million, they already know they're going to get that money within 90 days.
But what I'm saying is, that capital, getting that capital won't be passed on to the people. It'll be passed on to that police officers.
Yes, it'll be passed on to
insurance, and he'd be fired, and he could probably never get insurance again.
Well, see, this is the thing that are still crippled because, see, these attorneys, and that's a legal problem. These attorneys is going for the higher amount of money. So now when they figure out and they say, well, okay, I can sue Brother Joseph here, and once I sue Brother Joseph, all I'm going to get up out of him is 20 grand. The insurance company don't want to cough up the money. So if they're not willing to cough up the money, that means you can't get the money.
But the insurance company couldn't even get the contract if they wasn't certified to get it done.
Well, let me tell you, being certified and looking at responsibilities.
Like Allstate.
It's like a driver.
Yeah.
If they find out that the driver has accountability with the wreck, what the insurance company is going to do, they're going to pay out so much of it, and the rest of it got to come out of your pocket. That's the thing that the attorney don't want. Well, they want to be able to get their big check.
Brother, I can go out there and get $1 million insurance policy. But what I'm saying is they making enough capital to where they should be able to pay that insurance from a reputable insurance company to where all this wouldn't just fall on the citizen. And they don't give a damn how much it is and probably move to another state.
This is what I want to say. This is what I think would curb and eliminate police misconduct. if the money came out of the direct budget that was given to the police department, meaning out of their management funds as to what they would receive. In other words, the city of Chicago has a separate fund. And that separate fund, they have about $40 to $50 million sitting in that fund to pay out those settlements. Now, let's take that $40 or $50 million, let's give that back to the community, and guess what? The city of Chicago paid out $1.3 billion to the police department. Well, when the officers goof up and do things that is wrong, take that money out of that 1.3 bill.
We're going to talk about this. I kind of think they should have their own private insurance, like a private detective. But you got a question for them, then I got to get back to the mayor.
You were talking about Tom Dart. Now, you said that he was, should not be the sheriff of Cook County?
Yes.
Because he's not mentally capable or professionally capable of.
He's not professionally capable. He's very well mentally capable. The bottom line of it is that most people fail to realize that Tom Dart used to be an Illinois state legislator back in 1995. He sat on the prison reform committee dealing with the state of Illinois. His job was to reform the Illinois prisons. And he came in and, man, he messed up everything. The guards now can beat you at will and get away with it because you didn't get a letter in a year, and they probably got 30 or 40 letters they didn't threw away that you should have received because you didn't get a visit. They can care less about those things. But those guys that are locked down in those facilities, they do care. Now, once he was voted out of office in the latter part of the 1990s, he moved on and he ran for sheriff and he won. And now he's moved them same practices over to the Cook County Sheriff's Department. I was just in a conversation with a whole panel of Cook County sheriffs who's vowing not to vote for him and who's vowing to pick people from within for some change due to the fact that dude has played political games and he only come to work, they claim, is about 2 days out of the week for about maybe 2 hours at best. And the rest, he at home or worried about other affairs.
And man, that I didn't know. You know what? But thing is, the mayor of Chicago promised the people that she would have a police review board with citizens that are based with the citizens in the community, and she has reneged on that. And I think she even saw a tape with somebody being abused. And she said, "Oh, I forgot her," something like that. That's what is alleged. Why? Why did she see that tape and turn a blind eye to it? And why can't we have a citizen police review board? Why?
Well, Lorie Lightfoot's whole tender as a prosecutor and then as a person that has worked in many different positions across the city of Chicago, that's not her style. So most people, when they heard that, they knew that she was lying from the get-go. The problem here was that a flush of Caucasian people decided that they wanted to give her an opportunity as mayor. A lot of things she did speak of was good to hear, but was they legit? No. Lorie Lightfoot has always represented the Chicago Police Department. She may get pushback from the racists within the Chicago Police Department, but guess what? What she just give? $281 million over to the Chicago Police Department on top of its $1.3 billion. And the people in the communities are arguing and crying and saying, well, what about one mental health facility in our community?
One more question, then I got to let him finish. Okay. Go ahead.
Can we really say that I don't know, I really don't follow the mayor, man, so I ain't got no question, no comment on that one.
My other question to you is, there are brothers that are locked up there are people that are in prison right now. And you're always looking for volunteers. Can you talk to the brothers that are in despair, that are being mistreated and abused at Statesville, at Cook County Jail, Dixon, Dwight? I don't even know if St. Charles is open.
Still open.
Jeff Ford, Larry Hoover. You are fighting for them. Do you have a specific message for them?
Man, it's all about finding hope and hanging on to that little small hope. There are people out here fighting for them. There are people out here that are fighting to bring attention to the abuse inside of the prisons. It's just that people have been treated like pawns, and people only seem to recognize you when they need something. But when you come and you say, well, hey, listen here, let's go to Gary, Indiana, and guess what? We getting ready to track these steps, and we getting ready to get down to the 411 as to really what took place with your son. The bottom line is what you find out is a lot of people bag out of that. And that is the problem that I have with many of our brothers and sisters. Be real about what you claim that you want, due to the fact that if you're not real, you will be found out.
And you know what? I read your information. You mentioned Miss Clements, your mother. Can you say something to all the mothers? You say that's your rock. I read paperwork. Can you say something to all the mothers that are in despair, that's looking at this and going through pain? Can you talk to them?
Well, you know,
Your mother did.
I am known by probably a larger community of mothers than any people.
What's your mother's name, if you?
Virginia Clements.
Okay.
Virginia Clements.
Okay.
And she was my rock. Being a 16-year-old kid taken down to a police station and tortured, and then now given 4 counts of natural life. What is there for a mother to do but to fight? And at least what I have done since I came out of the prison system is to hold their hands and to try to guide them into the right directions, due to the fact that all of this stuff, it creates trauma.
So my other question is, I'm asking for your response. If there is a correctional officer, police that is abusing people, there's a guard that's bringing drugs into the prison, doing atrocities to the inmates and bad police, do you have a specific message for them?
A specific message for guards that are bringing drugs into the prison?
And abusing the prisoners.
Well, the abuse, yes. The abuse is that they know it's wrong. That's something that the community as a whole need to hold them accountable to. And I'm not saying through acts of violence, but through acts of holding them accountable as to what their standards of accountability look like. As far as guards bringing drugs inside of the facilities to certain brothers and sisters, well, being an ex-prisoner, the reason I do that is due to the fact that
I understand.
it's difficult, because let me tell you, I have known some brothers, the only cope mechanism that they had was to be comatose. Some of them are still in prison, and they're not in prison because they failed to fight to get out. They still there because the system has ignored them.
This is real quick, man. You know, when during the pandemic, in Bobby Rush's office, there were a group of police that was sitting, having fun while they was tying up Chicago on, you know, the African-American community, but up north they was out in force. What do you think about police officers like that are abusive? And I don't even think anything was done to them. You'd like to respond on that?
Well, those police officers, each one in Bobby Rush's office, yes, they have all been disciplined. Now, the measure of discipline is being held up as they appeal their discipline. The key of it is this. Until the city of Chicago truly, firmly hold them accountable with what's on the books now today, it makes no sense to keep coming out with laws of accountability when the ones that exist today is not being measured out against them. I think they should be held accountable to the full measure of the law.
Okay, you're watching the Underground Railroad television show tomorrow. The man that you look just talking, Mr. Clements, will be on the Underground Railroad tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. So tell a friend, and that's how I give you the finishing minutes. Is there a specific message that you would like to give to the people, how they can help you out, whatever message you have? I'm going to give you the final minutes, okay?
Okay, well, let me tell you, I think that people need to get involved with the Chicago Torture Justice Center. And a quick way how you can get involved with the Chicago Torture Justice Center is simple. All you have to do is www.chicagotorturejustice.org. Once again, www.chicagotorturejustice.org. And if you want to at least know of some of the things that I'm doing, go to Facebook. Look up Mark Clements. You already see the name, so you already know how to spell it. You already see the ugly face, so you already know what I look like. So the bottom line of it is we got to come together and we got to mobilize. Many of you got great plans and ideas, and you need a tool or what they say, an underground railroad system to get the word out. Guess what? Here we are.
You know what, man? You know I got to have you back, right?
Yes, hey, just let me know.
Okay. You got to have you back, too. You got a finishing comment you want to give?
No, I just appreciate you sharing with you, man. You very, got a lot from him, man.
Hell, like I say, Cook County Jail, Statesville Prison, Dixon, Logan, you know what? You got somebody fighting for you. Not just him, but his whole organization. And congratulations to Father Michael Flagger of St. Sabina's Church from the allegation against him. And Father Flagger got a hell of a lawsuit if he wishes to pursue it about the false allegations that took place. And watch the Underground Railroad. We come on every Saturday night at 10:30. Thank you.